Chat, here we go. It's the ProDrops Asia, Middle East, Northern Africa 1v1 Invitational. This one is the most expansive invitational yet. And today, we're starting with Kiileerrz and Loreley. We have Group B. We have Group B, which consists of Kiileerrz, Loreley, Drally, and Ness. And this is, I think, the 1 seed versus the 4 seed as a part of it. Kiileerrz has looked really good in 1v1. So I want to say that he is here in this match representing the most likely player to come out of his group. Followed by Drally, then Ness, and then finally Loreley. So Loreley having to try and take down what could be the best 1v1er in Group B. But Loreley is a talented 1v1er himself. In fact, this whole group is capable of winning this. And I like that Loreley is rocking his country's decal right now. Has the Turkish decal. Kiileerrz in the Nike. Yeah, the #1 Drally fan is here. We had a bit of trouble starting at the match, and that was just because we were trying to find a good server. I think because Kiileerrz is the higher seeded player, and because it's technically like a Middle East invitational, or was going to be, they made an effort to give Kiileerrz the server advantage, but the reality is that no other server really makes sense for Loreley at all. We could get Kiileerrz good ping at the cost of playable ping for Loreley. Whereas here on the here on EU servers, as Loreley gets a nice reset, Kiileerrz tries way too passively to get a save. We're at 172. I think both these guys queue EU all the time. I think it just makes sense to play it on EU. So we're going rogue, and I set up the match on EU. And now we are a minute in to this best of 5. Best of 5s today. Exclamation point bracket if you guys want to see what the other group is. The group involves Rawas, Nupo, Dark, and OSM. OSM actually playing from Asia in this tournament. Those games will certainly be played on Indian servers. And so I believe the groups this time around, because you might be wondering, why is the format slightly different than the other invitationals? And I think it's because of those server issues. They wanted to group up everybody who could play on either Middle East or Indian servers, and then players that we're going to need to play on EU servers more likely are over here in our group today. Loreley, a third goal, 3-2. We saw Loreley try to qualify for the Fall 5K for EU, and I want to say he was one of the players who lost in the final games. Otherwise, would have been joining the qualifier. Wait, no, did he end up? No, he joined, right? He came in and played as a substitution, along with Dark, for Raziers and Ashley, I'm pretty sure. I want to say it was Dark and Loreley. It's tough because in the Swiss, I don't get to watch every single game, so sometimes I forget who is playing in each. Nice play from Kiileerrz as he rolls that ball up into the flick and actually just pushed it right through Loreley. You'd think that Loreley would be prepped for this save. Goes all the way out, grabs boost. I guess because he has to slam on the brakes so hard after getting back to net. That's why he ends up getting beat, which is kind of interesting. If he had just stayed around with just the 20 boost that he did have, then he doesn't really ever lose momentum. He doesn't have to speed back to the net and then hit the brakes. He could just keep this constant, steady, slow speed, which I think it actually would have been preferred, and it would have resulted in him being able to challenge the ball as opposed to having to come to a halt outside the net. And Kiileerrz just convinced Loreley to own goal for him as he pops the ball up. Loreley tried to pre-jump it and went too high, and you gotta credit Loreley, or you gotta, not blame Loreley for trying to get some kind of touch as he comes back down, but unfortunately just helps pinch it into the net. OSM gets 140 on AMENA. I think OSM's games will be played on Indian servers, if I had to guess. Loreley, nice bump. Kiileerrz, he's been being really passive on defense. I want to watch this again from his perspective. That was the last touch from Loreley. Loreley does a decent job of protecting this one, so I'm not sure I can really blame Kiileerrz too much. Good fakes all the way to the net that Kiileerrz had to respect, and then before too long, he's getting demoed. Loreley, very greedy start to this kickoff, but seems to have worked out. He's got Kiileerrz's corner. And so even if Kiileerrz does escape, it's not going to be with much. This touch pass really just buys himself time, not really a shot attempt. And now Kiileerrz diving as Lauralee comes off the wall. Could be a bit scary to dive in that corner, but as long as you're timing it really before the other player has control, you can get away with it. Lauralee just passed the ball out to Kiileerrz at the midfield, and a booming power shot to the back wall is going to immediately end what could have been a spicy possession, if you ask me. You know what? Maybe not. Maybe Kiileerrz knew what he's doing all along. I mean, this does happen a lot more than once, but you'd think that Lauralee would have been able to control this. I guess it's just becomes so hard to slow down a ball with incredible speed. Even if you can easily control it. I mean, Lauralee was always going to get the touch off the back wall to the corner. That was never going to be an issue, but I guess if you put enough heat on it, then it'll be tough to completely control and take away. Because we see really a ton of ones players doing that nowadays, just booming to the back wall and going off that. Demo going to protect Lauralee from having to stop a Doomsy Dish. And now full field dribble ceiling resets. Kiileerrz going to let him come down to the ground, and Lauralee is just going to keep waiting. If Kiileerrz keeps letting him, and it's tough to say that Kiileerrz needs to challenge because it is so hard to challenge somebody who has their flip in the air. But obviously, waiting it out hasn't been working for him. And Lauralee hasn't even sweat while dribbling in the air, thinking that he could be getting approached. So Kiileerrz either needs to maybe fake jump. Sometimes just fake jumping in net is enough because it gets that person thinking that they're going to have to deal with an early challenge, even though they're not going to. But I would say even as far as getting up and meeting Lauralee in the air. Nice movement on the ball. Look at the shot from Kiileerrz. Gets around it and places it right where Lauralee isn't as he tries to pre-jump off the wall. Lauralee had a direct dribble covered, and he actually tried to get back down to the ground to adjust to Kiileerrz's shot in time, but could not. Now he's got a wall to air dribble. Is Kiileerrz going to challenge early? Comes off the ceiling. I like this from him. It's a mix-up that I think maybe would have paid off better had he done it earlier in the series. Because right now, it's kind of last goal wins territory. There's a chance that this goal that Lauralee scores is the game winner. Whereas if he did this earlier, I think he would have gotten Lauralee guessing for the whole game. And as the whole game went on, even though Lauralee scored that one, he wouldn't know whether or not Kiileerrz is going to challenge right away or wait in net. And that just makes his whole life harder throughout the course of the game. Nice pre-flip to pop this ball and keep it scoreable for Kiileerrz. Kiileerrz tried to go for a power shot top right and just didn't get the heat on it that he needed. He needed something here in the final moments. Decided that that was it. And had it been the shot he wanted, maybe it would have stood a chance. Kiileerrz wants a new server. We'll be hopping to a different EU server. And this one will roll out. I guess we can all hop out of this game. You can go Middle East if you want. I mean, the Middle East server, if Lauralee gets the ping that we tested on Middle East, it'll be ridiculous. But hey, if he wants to. Kiileerrz says no. We got a much better server, I think, here for game number 2. 88 to 68 ping. It's pretty darn equal, I would say. Of course, it still favors Lauralee. But in the spirit of equality in ping, I think this is the best it's going to get on any server between these two. Sure, we could have a server that would favor Kiileerrz more, but it would be at heavy cost to Lauralee's connection. Eurotrash 12397. Thank you for the tier 1 for 3 months. How am I today? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Got a bit of a break between the fall 5K streaming, which was a lot that week, was very intense, and then got to hang with some family and stuff over the past week, and took almost an entire week off, I guess, since we streamed last. But much needed, and now we're back for the AMENA ProDrops 1v1 Invitational. Kiileerrz air dribble immediately takes heat off of it as he sees Loreley challenging from the ceiling. He wants to keep it low and give Loreley a long distance to follow and try and intercept it, but Loreley did just fine. And then he's able to steal away the next dribble. What's the A? It's Asia, Middle East, North Africa. Ooh, Kiileerrz could not save this kickoff goal. Touches it softly, and it still falls to the net. Kiileerrz, I think, was targeting Loreley there a bit, hoping that he could maybe have fallen into him and gotten a demo, but didn't work out that way. He said he has a great position still. Loreley on and off the ceiling, and man, these interceptions on defense have been so solid. Probably slightly because Kiileerrz isn't protecting it as well as he should have, but I think the credit goes mostly to Loreley for these great interceptions. Kiileerrz is going to get an instant goal here. Able to accelerate that ball off zero. It's not the easiest thing to do. These guys will do it every time. That half volley on that slight bounce is necessary. Also the boost that he saved in order to get the power that makes it so Loreley can't get back. But, you know, I'm sure you hop into your ranked game and you win a kickoff like that, and you're probably not scoring it against Loreley. You have to really make sure you time it well in order to make it impossible to recover to. Kiileerrz getting caught up in his own corner. Loreley looking like he was expecting to demo Kiileerrz as he rolled around that back wall, kind of just maybe protecting the place where Kiileerrz would have liked to go, and then forced into a more awkward touch. And now Loreley's going to do kind of the same thing here as he just hands the ball over and lets Kiileerrz tie the game up. Kiileerrz looking to control this kickoff. Wow, is he waiting as long as possible. He didn't want to cut the ball towards the corner that Loreley was going to steal his boost. So he took one more trip around the ball and looked to take it to the opposite side. And Loreley was more interested in staying on ball than stealing the 100. I think he could have stole the 100, come back, and still been relevant in the play because it was such a slow setup for Kiileerrz. But he saw the ball halfway in and maybe got excited. Long shot for Loreley. Kiileerrz trying to save as much boost as possible on his way out to challenging this. Now to be a wall to air dribble. Can use the ceiling reset. Immediate shot down. What a great counter to Kiileerrz, who was threatening to save high. These guys have been going back and forth between faking at ceiling height that they're going to come to the ball, but Loreley just sends it flying back down to the ground. 112 km/h, bottom left. It's not often you see people slotting in the bottom corners in order to keep it away from defenders, but in the case where Kiileerrz is up at ceiling height, that is the farthest corner for him. Not a bad 50 for Kiileerrz. Almost got it directly in net, but is able to follow it up after the bounce off the back wall. Good movement on the backflip diagonal flick. It's been a close battle between these two. Missed boost from Kiileerrz. Delays his trip into this corner slightly, but doesn't seem to matter. Still there before Loreley really can get any control of the ball. Now Kiileerrz, his reset into a 50. You know, after he got that reset and started to use it, it was less about whether or not he was going to score and more about how is he going to get away with this defensively, because it actually was a really all-in type commit. But as long as you stay true behind the ball, then you're bound to get some kind of additional challenge and make it worth your while. It's dangerous, though. If you use the flip that low to the ground and you don't stay behind the ball, you're getting scored on. Kiileerrz right now is pelting every part of Laurelly's net except the inside of it. And he finally is able to get his 6th back into the lead. Seems like neither one of these guys has a more than 1 goal lead for very long. Kiileerrz off the wall. His reset. He doesn't use it. He waits as Laurelly is early challenging. And he actually does a great job of adjusting in air to protect this 50. I mean, Laurelly went a bit too high, but that's credit to Kiileerrz for recognizing the play. Are you feeling good? You sound a bit different. That's interesting. It's interesting that you guys could be keyed in on anything that subtle. Wait, Kiileerrz. What a play. Let's give this a watch real quick. Is that a double reset into the wave dash? Oh my goodness, Kiileerrz. That is filthy. But I woke up and my throat, I don't know if I slept with my mouth open or something, but I had a little pain in my throat. I didn't really think it was really anything. The fact that you guys, it might make me sound slightly different and you guys can notice that is wild to me. Laurelly, nice fake. Kiileerrz absolutely sent flying. I'm sure everyone mocked ass. Laurelly, once again, gonna wait as long as possible on all these resets. If Kiileerrz is not pressuring, he has shown he's willing to just slowly roll to net. Oh my goodness, that musty is so strong. That would have been such a good clip if Kiileerrz had got it underneath the crossbar, but too high. He should be okay if he gets this defensive save. I don't think he needs to worry about losing the game. So 9-6. Oh my goodness, he actually almost made that possible to be saved, but you're pretty sure I hear your voice in cumulative time more than your wife's. Take that for what it's worth. What? That's interesting. Game number 2. Going to Kiileerrz. Game number 3. Kiileerrz and Laurelly. Kiileerrz maybe an accidental delayed kickoff as he doesn't pick up that boost on the way to the ball, but tell you what, it works out. Laurelly in just awkward enough of a spot that he feels the need to jump and prevent an immediate shot from happening, but all of that is a commit that makes it possible for Kiileerrz to go around him. Laurelly collecting this drop down from Kiileerrz. He's been liking his wall to air dribbles. What do you... I don't know what happened there. Obviously, that was a mistake. He had been going for some stealing resets, but what was he going for this time around? I don't know. Maybe he just double jumped quicker than he thought. Bad server again? Oh, that's a bummer. I can remake. With admin privileges. 30419. Sound good? No problem? No problem as in let's do that, or no problem as in... Yeah, okay, let's do that. All right, we continue our 1v1 on a different server. Kiileerrz saying this one not as bad. He does get a bit better ping on this one than he was on before. But I also feel like almost out of the kindness of his heart, he doesn't want to re-roll too much when we probably could roll if he wanted to. This is a great shot from Loreley. As we hop back into the server, despite that server not being good for Kiileerrz and him being the one who wanted the reset, he actually was playing very solid in those first 40 seconds. And then right as we get into this new server, Loreley pops off with a shot of his own. Kiileerrz stealing reset into the ball. Couldn't get back to it before Loreley made the save. But he does outplay it over the top of him and gets the goal no matter what. What is Kiileerrz's decal? I don't know. Obviously, there's the country decals that have come out and also specific Nike ones. And I'm not sure which one that is from Kiileerrz. A save from Loreley. Not only saving the shot, but launching the ball with speed off the back wall and towards Kiileerrz's half. But man, this is another one of those really well-timed shots from Kiileerrz. If he doesn't hit it perfectly on this half volley, then it's not going to come out with the speed that Loreley can't catch up to. So not really an issue for these guys normally or anything. Not saying it's exceptional that Kiileerrz is doing it and these other type guys aren't, but it's very important, the timing for those shots. Loreley able to get a second off an immediate kickoff. Loreley now a high lobbing kickoff win. Doesn't feel like he can get up to do anything with it, but he does steal Kiileerrz's boots. Kiileerrz notices that he has time to go all the way to his other corner, though, in order to reset, and that shot was too slow. Got Kiileerrz up in the air, but the follow-up was going to have way more power. Kiileerrz wanted to roll around the ball and put it behind Loreley, but he recognized that he was too close to net, that all of this was happening in a position where he wouldn't actually be able to get it past him. And so he held onto his flip, presumably to recover faster, but I wonder if it would have just been better off using the flip. He has to get some sort of challenge on the ball in order to prevent Loreley from having a open field. You know, even though it would slow Kiileerrz's recovery, it might also slow Loreley's counterattack, which in retrospect seemed like the more important thing. Loreley, ball to air dribble, reset on the ceiling. Oh no, he got Kiileerrz to own goal. This was not a Loreley goal. It was Kiileerrz tapping it right back in for him. Kiileerrz came off the wall, and I mean, that's a nutty angle. If you were trying to do that on purpose, that was your teammate. Be very impressed. Kiileerrz, this reset is not going to be used as he slowly guides the ball to the net. Loreley, who wanted the challenge early, elected not to and ended up making this save tough. No immediate kickoff goal for Loreley despite him winning the ball into a drop right in front of him. Now bounce dribble for Kiileerrz. The 50 has been tough. He hasn't had a lot of scoring plays from these because Loreley's done such a good job on defense, but this time he will protect the ball well enough. It'll be a 7th. We've seen Kiileerrz, or we've seen Loreley go over the top a ton, I would say, on some of these earlier challenges. But the goal line ones, for the most part, Loreley had been able to stop. Now Kiileerrz leaning back into the reset. He wants to threaten the musty, and he ends up going for the wave dash instead. Kiileerrz popping off right now. 8 goals, still 2 minutes left in this one. This was a great fake, though. Oh, how can you not fall for it? He's about to scream another musty at 110 km/h like we saw when he hit the crossbar last time. But still, even though he hit the crossbar on his last musty, Loreley saw it. He knows that with a slight adjustment, that shot's going in his net next time, so he has to get up to stop it, and then Kiileerrz just continues that front flip all the way through until he hits the wave dash. PTM Live, thank you for the Prime for 3 months. Great to have you back. These guys have done this a few times for each other. Just setups decently out from the net that really never stand a chance of scoring and then result in really free takes the other way. Yo, read the sloth. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs, my man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Loreley, the pinch is strong enough. I mean, he's threatening the pinch the whole way. But Kiileerrz should have been ready for it. I mean, he had to slow down again. We talk about that. He wave dashes to the ground, and if he had kept going, he probably would have rolled past the corner. So he has to hit the brakes, and then it's so hard to get back up to speed after you've done that. Loreley now. His air dribble is prevented. Long shot from Kiileerrz. Maybe felt like that was his only option with his level of boost, but didn't seem like a shot that ever stood a chance. Loreley looking to try and pin Kiileerrz back, but this touch will prevent him from doing so. More than enough pads around the map for Kiileerrz to stay relevant in this play, but Loreley is quick to the ball, and that has always been his expertise. Speedier than you expect. Loreley jumping quickly as he hits the ground in order to get up to this ball before Kiileerrz. Kiileerrz now bounce dribble. He's trying to get Loreley to commit to that near post so that he could then push it to the left. Or either way, he wants to see Loreley commit to that far post, then he can drop it in right. But Loreley really never did. The good news for Kiileerrz is that as the bounce gets closer and closer to net, it becomes less likely that there's anything that Loreley can do, even if he does stay neutral. Nice play by Loreley. Kickoff. Kiileerrz elected to try and stop it immediately. But Loreley gets enough pop. Kiileerrz keeps missing these these dead center boosts, but the slightly offset kickoffs, where normally the players pick them up. Not sure if he's doing that on purpose. I can't imagine he is. It does result in a delayed kickoff, which sometimes works out. But usually it's better to just grab the boost and then delay it on your own accord, as opposed to just being delayed by not grabbing it. 9-8. Kiileerrz just needs to hit the ground, and he's able to. So 2 straight wins for Kiileerrz after Loreley got the first. Trying to put him away in game number 4. Loreley and Kiileerrz. Kiileerrz accepting this new server, which is not the best ping-wise. Yo, OSM, thank you for the tier 1 for 9 months, man. 9 months of tier 1 OSM. Appreciate that. Loreley has switched off of the turkey decal. It wasn't speedy enough for him. He's kept the turkey banner, though, and to keep representing his country. In fact, the decal he has on still is his colors, so should be just fine. Kiileerrz is essentially rocking the Saudi Arabian colors with this fennec. The purple fennec has been adopted as a Saudi Arabian color, I would say. Kiileerrz passed to himself, couldn't get the acceleration to finish it off. Now Loreley, full field dribble, has the reset, is going to wait to see if Kiileerrz is going to challenge. If he does, he uses the flip. If not, takes it to the ground, and it ends up being the right play for Kiileerrz as he is able to get the save. So now, retreating to net over the center pads. Is he going to get enough to get the save? He is. It cost him everything he had left over. So now to be Kiileerrz in net with 0, but Loreley couldn't control it. Kiileerrz gets to escape what could have been an extended attack and a potential second goal. Instead, Kiileerrz threatening now. Or as I say that, Loreley does clear this ball, but he does so with 0 boost, which means he shouldn't be too scary. Kiileerrz controlling this one. Getting his... Oh, what is he doing here? Didn't get his 100 and pinched the ball. And now feels forced to slam it into the orange half so as to not have to deal with his mistaken touch. Now chasing down this one. Could not get a pop on the ball before Laurelly's backflip challenge stopped the dribble. This is a good first touch setup. Needs to get it a bit towards the farther post, though, as taking that to the near post makes the angles much easier on Laurelly to get the save. So far, a neutral midfield game. Laurelly gonna double to himself to get a second. Kiileerrz waiting for Laurelly as he falls from the ceiling. We talked about how Kiileerrz is doing probably a bit too much waiting earlier in this series. Decides to do something about it this time around and gets countered by the ground double. Kiileerrz all the way from the back corner. Laurelly got up, but not fast enough. He actually made it back down and back up. I think Kiileerrz saw that pre-jump that he didn't commit to and figured he could probably just speed it over his recovery. But Laurelly did make it. The follow-up, though, still goes to Kiileerrz, so he gets his first. Low 50 this time. He has made a habit of going under Laurelly, whether it's on these ground 50s or in the air as well. Laurelly's going to win the race to this boost. Kiileerrz needs to give up on that race as soon as possible, which he did. Now Laurelly, great reset. I mean, this is perfect in 1v1. Getting the reset in just the right location, forcing Kiileerrz off the back wall to make a save as the ball goes low. If Kiileerrz wants to stand a chance at stopping that ball from crossing, he has to jump down. And then after the jump, getting movement on the ball to push it back up to the top right corner. I mean, what do you do if you're Kiileerrz? If you don't jump for that ball, it goes in even easier. Kiileerrz now on the high bounce, getting the reset just to try and protect the 50. And now a fake in order to get Laurelly to hand the ball away. And it worked perfectly. Diving in just for a moment to make Laurelly think he has a chance on the long shot, and then using that to collect the ball and air dribble bump back the other way. Laurelly went to grab boost, and he got 100, but he uses it just to get himself taken off the map. Minute 45. Kiileerrz certainly doesn't want to go to game 5 with the Turkish 1v1er, and he is showing why he has been able to take down a lot of top players, and that is just speed. So quick out of this corner to finish off this play. Kiileerrz passed to himself, threatening that near post, and then tried to power it to the far post, but Laurelly able to cover it only because the placement was slightly less than perfect. I think perfect placement would not have been touchable. Laurelly lobbing this one high. Kiileerrz doesn't want to take it off the first bounce. He wants to bait Laurelly in a bit and then go over the top of him. And did not succeed in doing so. In fact, he didn't grab the back corner boost. He does take the midfield boost, and Laurelly actually dove expecting to get that. So now the counter for Kiileerrz after a good challenge is going to be a third goal. Interesting movement from Kiileerrz that ends up making this play. Missing the boost. In retrospect, we're going to say it was on purpose in order to bait Laurelly in. So being overly aggressive. Now Kiileerrz needs to handle this one, and he can't. Had to half flip back and then get some kind of really smooth catch in order to stand a chance of saving it. That little twitch towards the wall was probably the reason why he couldn't get there. If he stays committed to going back to net right away, I think he can get that save. I don't think any power is going to score this one immediately, though, and Kiileerrz agrees as he just takes the ball onto his car. Laurelly trying to play quickly without boost, and he succeeded in doing so. 6-3. Kiileerrz thought maybe he had done enough, taken all the boost off the map and prevented Loreley from staying on the ball, but he was wrong. Loreley has got to go fast at all times, regardless of what's in the tank. Can Kiileerrz steal this boost or get the demo? He can't get either. It's looking like we're going to go to game 5 between Loreley and Kiileerrz. If I had to guess, we're going to go probably to another server as well. I'm not sure the server is as good as it could be for Kiileerrz. Bounce dribble for him. Trying to go top right. That's just not going to work. I think you have to extend the bounce dribble longer. See if you can peel Loreley out of net and then go behind him. That's really the only way. Trying to shoot from that far out is going to get saved. Yep, Kiileerrz out of the match immediately, and that doesn't surprise me at all because he is going to want a new server. Game number 5 between these two legends of the game. Game 5. Winner of this moves on to the upper bracket. Loser drops down. There's a double elimination into single elimination, just like the previous ones, except this time with 2 groups. So 2 of the 4 people coming out of this group. And Kiileerrz wants it to be him. Look at this setup. 10 seconds into this match. Kiileerrz getting the reset and reacting to the Loreley jump, putting it right over the top of him. Give us your top 3 ones players in the world. Why don't we wait and see how the fall 5K cross regional final goes? I think we'll get to see some interesting ones there. I think just the major in general will probably give us a few different ones show matches, and then we can say, for example, Yan and TRK have to get involved somehow in those matches to really know. And if they don't, I mean, I think you just have to not include them, which is not because they aren't the best. There's a good chance that Yan is, if you ask me. Just because there's something you can do. If people aren't going to play the game mode, then you really just have to give it to the people who are willing to do it. Loreley, he's going to get a reset to go past Kiileerrz. Kiileerrz going all the way out to midfield, try and grab some boost, and he actually felt like he did what he needed to get back, but he overturned and flipped back behind him, whereas I think if he had stayed on the trajectory he was on, he might have been able to get that save. Why is First Killer not invited to this tourney? It's interesting that you type that in all caps. He is not from Asia, Middle East, or North Africa, and that is the reason why. Loreley, look at the shot. These two touching cars on the orange back wall, and Loreley booming a 121 km/h shot before Kiileerrz can get back. You mean in NA? How can we take you seriously when everything you say is in all caps? Kiileerrz waiting patiently as Loreley looks to control the ball, hoping that it would get the ball dropped to him, and kind of has, except it's on the other side of the field. Loreley is going to force to be off the ball soon, and Kiileerrz knows it. That's why you see him waiting patiently as Loreley dives again and again and again. Kiileerrz just keeps turning back and saying, "You have to leave. You have no boost. I know you can't do this forever." And Loreley does, and then Kiileerrz able to get it on the second attempt. The first attempt, weaker than he would have liked. The follow-up, just about as good as it gets as he dribbles it top right. Oh, chat overlay is off. To be fair, we could turn chat overlay back on. It's off during tournaments sometimes. If chat gets a bit too out of control, we'll just take them off. But you guys can be back on screen. Loreley just using his jump to push himself down to the ground in order to make that power shot. No, don't turn it on. I think people do like it on for the most part. I think it's fun to see people react to crazy shots and whatnot, and as long as everyone's mostly tame, I think it's just an added benefit. The problem is that in the big tournaments that we run, a lot of people will join the stream that aren't normally here, and then they'll go crazy in ways that is not fun to watch. It's distracting sometimes to watch. So in those cases, you got to turn it off. Loreley is up 5-2. He is running a few kickoff goals together into a big lead. Kiileerrz attacking this ball from the diagonal. Loreley, this reset doesn't have a ton of purpose as he just pushes it into the corner where Kiileerrz is going to take control. Kiileerrz needs to get his head in the game here late if he wants to come back. Prevent Loreley from getting the Game 5 win. Kiileerrz is cutting right back towards net. Loreley's just been challenging these pretty solidly. Kiileerrz is just propping him up and then trying to get on the correct side of him, getting wheel touches on the ball, hoping to kill them towards net, and it just never seemed to go that way. And now Loreley sees an opportunity to punish a poor touch in the corner. Kiileerrz now cut dribble, has 4 goals to score, and there's the first. Loreley backflipping over the top. Kiileerrz now working his way back. This is such a speedy ball dash to catch. But at the cost of maybe scoring. A pinch to himself. Oh, he couldn't finish it off. He couldn't get the angle. Now he's going to have to deal with the Loreley attack. The musty to accelerate the ball. He threw Kiileerrz into net with that. And what a great read. Kiileerrz has had to go all in here late, but he's been doing a good job of it. The problem is Loreley did not adopt the speed. He was born into the speed. He wants to just fly around this map at supersonic at all times. He does run out of boost here, though, and it's hard to get supersonic from nothing. Kiileerrz finds the perfect position in net to go over the top of him. Kiileerrz now, can he get another kickoff goal? He should be able to. Within 1. 50 seconds left to go. Kiileerrz never losing faith in himself. He's got a ton of time to bring it back now. Another great kickoff. What is Loreley going to do here? Kiileerrz tries to box him out, and he gets the touch. Wow, tie game. A few kickoffs in a row can extend the lead for Loreley, but also bring it right back for Kiileerrz. From Kiileerrz. Works out great. Another kickoff goal. Wow, 7-6. He is just running it up here. Look at the wall dash to get back to this one. That is so filthy. Kiileerrz now. Another kickoff win. Going to use it to demo and get an 8. I mean, he's just on a roll. You know, we said he was coming back, but looking at it now, he had it all along. Can Loreley stop the insane run? He's going to have to in the next 30 seconds. We saw him get a few kickoffs in a row, but Kiileerrz just has the kickoffs figured out, and now he's caught this one. Still, he can't work these 50s through. Loreley's done a good job of stopping that, but Loreley has to be diving right now. I mean, he can't play reactionary with 15 seconds and 2 goals to make up. He has to just dive and pray, but instead, he is camping out, waiting for 100 boosts. Didn't get it, and chat, they think they've seen the end. They're throwing the GGs with 10 seconds left to go. Loreley not going to score this one either. Kiileerrz just playing a bit of reactionary defense. an attempt to ice out the win. So credit to Kiileerrz. Great little comeback towards the end of that game. He holds off Loreley and wins in this first round 3-2.